What's up, everybody? It's Jordan, and welcome to the Sports Dude Hine Show. Today is September 8th, 2021. Finishing up my series here of doing some record predictions for each NFL team. The NFL season starts tomorrow, which is just absolutely crazy. Does not seem like it should be, already coming up just on tomorrow against the Dallas Cowboys and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And, this video is of the, Cowboys' biggest rival and the Washington football team. In the offseason, the Washington football team, they got Ryan Fitzpatrick and Curtis Samuel, and also Jamin Davis, a rookie linebacker from Kentucky. And this Washington team really surprised some people last season. They didn't even finish 500, but you're just looking at their games. Their young defense is going to be very, very difficult for teams to beat this year. But we'll go ahead and get started into this video here in Week 1 against the LA Chargers. I have them losing this game. I think the Chargers are going to have at least 9 or 10 wins this year. They're very, very underrated. Justin Herbert was absolutely phenomenal last year. And I see the Washington defense stopping the Chargers to a certain extent, but I don't see the Washington offense keeping up with the Chargers because really you look at Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ryan Fitzpatrick is a glorified, overrated, average quarterback. He'll throw for 300 or 400 yards in the game, but he's not going to get you a win. You look at his career stats as a starter. He's 59, 86, and 1 as a starter. That's 40%. I don't get how people expect this team to be great when you have a guy who is a horrible starting quarterback. He's a good backup quarterback, but not a good starting quarterback by any means to lead this team to the playoffs. I don't see them beating the Chargers here in Week 1. But that's kind of my main issue with the Washington this season is the inconsistent play of Ryan Fitzpatrick. I think that's really going to hold them back. Week 2, a home game against the New York Giants. I had them winning this game because I mentioned inconsistent quarterbacks, and you cannot mention inconsistent quarterbacks without naming Daniel Jones, who's a turnover machine. I feel like Washington's defense is going to give Jones a hard time, force him a couple of turnovers. The Washington will be able to get this victory here to improve to 1-1. Week 3 at Buffalo. This defense is really, really good in Washington, but I don't feel like they're going to have an elite performance every single week. Like, they're going to have good games, but when you play great teams and good offenses like the Buffalo Bills, I feel like you should not expect them to be absolutely phenomenal. There's going to be games where they don't look like the best defense in the league when they're playing against really good offenses like the Bills. I see the Bills scoring maybe 20 so points, something like that. This won't be a super high-scoring game, but I do expect Washington to lose this one as they drop to 1-2. Week 4 at Atlanta, I see Washington winning this game here. Atlanta has Ridley and Pitts. That's really about it. Defense, they really don't have anybody. This is one of those games where you can see Fitzpatrick have a great day because he's playing a crappy defense. And that's normally the case for Fitzpatrick when he has these great performances or good performances. They're playing against bad defenses, and everybody talks about his Fitz magic. It's a lot more Fitz tragic than it is Fitz magic. When he comes back from behind, normally he's put that team in that situation, and that's why they're trailing is because of his mistakes. But as we continue here in Week 5, they lose to the New Orleans Saints. This is a toss-up game here. The Saints, they lost the people on defense. They have Winston as their quarterback now. Michael Thomas will not be playing in this game. I just feel like this will be a dud performance by Washington's offense. And, their defense will be on the field quite a bit, be able to let New Orleans score some points because the defense will be on the field the whole game. But I have the Washington football team losing here Week 5 against New Orleans. They dropped to 2-3. Week 6, a massive home victory against the Kansas City Chiefs. I feel like this defense is really going to be great, like it was in the playoff game last year against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But this is going to be one of those games we have to see Ryan Fitzpatrick be consistent and not have turnovers and not play like crap like he has before when he has started games. I feel like the Washington football team are capable of possibly defeating the Chiefs and containing them, but they need their offense to step up, and I think they're capable of it stepping up because the Chiefs don't have a great defense. I just have them with a massive upset victory here, through the 3-3, beating the Chiefs. Week 7, I actually have them having another big upset as well against the Packers. This Packers defense is all right. The offense is really good. I feel like they will be able to kind of contain this Packers offense, kind of like I think they might with this Chiefs offense too. And Washington's offense, I feel like Washington has a better chance of scoring more points against maybe the Packers defense opposed to Kansas City's. This is a major upset, especially being a Lambeau Field. This is a toss-up game that I wouldn't be surprised, obviously, if Washington were to lose. But two major quality wins against two really good teams here in Week 7, Week 6 and Week 7. So we continue here, Week 8 at Denver. They end up losing this game. I feel like they might get a little too overconfident. Denver has a great young supporting cast and offense. Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, KJ Hamler, Noah Fant, Javonte Williams. If they can just find that quarterback, I think Denver's a playoff team. They have a nice defense as well. And Bradley Chubb, Von Miller, Justin Simmons, and a couple of other nice players. Feel like that Washington will struggle a little bit on offense here, and their defense will be on the field a lot of the game. That's kind of one of my main issues with Washington as well, is that this offense has to keep up with its defense, because the defense might play great, or the offense has a couple of 3-and-outs. The defense is going to be on the field. They're eventually going to start giving up points. So that's kind of an issue I have with Washington this season. But heading into the bye week, they're 4-4. That's what you should expect for Washington, in my opinion. And that's with two very upset wins. I think, honestly, 4-4 honestly might be kind of even pushing it. 4-4, in my opinion, is the best case scenario Washington has heading into the bye week in Week 9. Week 10, a rematch from last year's playoff performance when Tyler Heineke started for Washington against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and almost led them to an upset victory. I see the Buccaneers winning this game here pretty easily. In Washington, I just don't see them, I don't see them playing up to they're down to the competition against Washington like they did last year. I feel like last year they didn't take them seriously heading into the week, and that's why we saw them almost defeat Tampa Bay. But I feel like, their defense is really going to give Ryan Fitzpatrick some struggles. Tampa Bay will be able to win this game here. The Washington football team drops to 4-5. Week 11, Ron Rivera gets his revenge against his former team in the Carolina Panthers. This is a toss-up game, in my opinion. The Panthers have a really nice young offense with Darnold, McCaffrey, DJ Moore, Anderson, and Terrace Marshall Jr. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe the Panthers were to win this game here, but I feel like I trust the Washington defense more than the Carolina offense, because we haven't seen Sam Darnold play a regular season game for the Panthers yet. So that's why I trust this team more than the Panthers. They get a nice road victory here and improve to 5-5. Week 12 against Seattle, I have them losing this game. Wouldn't be surprised if we maybe saw them win. Last season, I believe, when they played Seattle, Russell Wilson had less than 200 passing yards. I really feel it just kind of determines what type of Ryan Fitzpatrick we see and what type of Seahawks team we see, because the Seahawks are very inconsistent. First half of the year, they were Super Bowl contenders last year. Second half, they were horrible and lost in the first round against the Rams. But I feel like this Seattle team, with the wide receivers they have and the defense that really improved at the end of last season, if they use that and use it forward to this season, I feel like it might be a long day for Fitzpatrick and the offense. They drop to 5-6. Week 13 at Las Vegas. I kind of mentioned on each video there's at least one game every single team has where they lose and they shouldn't. I feel like this might be it for the Washington here. The Raiders are a definition of average, mediocre. They'll occasionally be the good team, and they'll lose to a crappy team the next week. But this is that one game, that you shouldn't lose, and you end up losing. And I feel like that can happen multiple times this year. When you have an inconsistent quarterback like Ryan Fitzpatrick, don't be surprised the Redskins have multiple games where they should win, but they end up losing. Week 14 against Dallas, they get a Victory here to improve to 6-7. This is very interesting. This should be a really good game. This is a toss up to me. I don't feel like I don't think either team will sweep the other one. I feel like they're going to end up splitting this season series 1-1, just a matter of which one wins which game. But with their defense and the Cowboys, they have an upgraded defense. Has a lot to determine how consistent and how Ryan Fitzpatrick can be for Washington this year. I feel like he'll play good this game, and Washington able to have a really nice win here against Dallas. They improved to 6-7. And like I mentioned, you look at this, Ryan Fitzpatrick-led team, they're going to have, I think, at least a game or two where they shouldn't lose, and they should. I mentioned that where the Raiders are ready, and they actually have another one here against the Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia. The Eagles have one of the worst rosters in the league. But, I just feel like Fitzpatrick is going to struggle here. He struggles sometimes, but he'll struggle at times when you wouldn't think he should. I feel like this is one of those scenarios where he might. And the Washington football team has an unexcusable loss here, dropping to the Eagles. They are now 6-8. Week 16 at Dallas. Like I said, I don't see them split. I don't see them sweeping the Cowboys. I don't see the Cowboys sweeping them. I feel like both these games should be good, though. But with this loss, they dropped to 6-9, and all of a sudden, they are 6-9 and heading into Week 17. That means they are not going to be 500, which I do not expect them to be. Week 17, they got a win against Philadelphia. They realized how just horrible performance that was against the Eagles a couple weeks ago. They're able to get a home victory and cap it off a road victory against the New York Giants to improve to 8-9. Like I said, I just do not trust Ryan Fitzpatrick as a starter for the Washington football team. You look at, 59, 86-1 as a starter in the NFL. That is unexcusable. You look at his, when he started more than, I believe, 6 or 7 games as a starter, he only has 2 years when he's above 500. But this is not good for the Washington football team. I expect them to be under 500 at 8-9. My ceiling for them, the absolute most I see them winning is 10 games. My floor for them is 6-11. I don't see that happening unless there's a quarterback change or something like that. But people really need to stop riding on the Washington hype train. It's really getting ridiculous in my opinion. But thank you all so much for watching. This finally concludes a series of doing some record predictions for each NFL team. Cannot wait for the NFL regular season coming back tomorrow. It's just absolutely crazy. So excited for it. But thank you all so much for watching. If you like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would really appreciate it. And I will see you all next time on the Sports Dude Hine Show.